Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we have Dr. Kaufman with us, joining for another episode of Building with Fusion, building no-code apps with Fusion. So I've known Dr. Kaufman for almost a year now, and Dr. Kaufman is one of our earliest customers, one of our earliest users at Fusion, and so he's actually built multiple apps on Fusion. And I know him as a very versatile entrepreneur. I know that he's actually running a few business ventures and he's also had a TV show of his own. So I'll request Dr. Kaufman to tell us more about his journey as an entrepreneur and the multiple projects that he's running, and then maybe we can start building his app. So Dr. Kaufman, over to you.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, Pushkar. It's been an absolute joy. You're right. It's been around a year, maybe even a little bit more. I started this journey on YouTube. I was looking for a way to build a software application for what at that time seemed like a small idea, which was a behavior tracking and analysis software app for schools to use. And I came across a video of you describing Fusion, and off we went through getting connected and building an app. That's one of the things that I do. And that project has actually blossomed into investors looking to acquire the IP and take this into a much larger project than I had ever imagined.
That's really great to
So,
hear. Yeah.
yeah, great thanks to Fusion for building a very versatile app that allows me as an entrepreneur to get ideas and just quickly iterate. And I find that so helpful. Mainly because I didn't get locked into a box that I couldn't get out of with the software. Fantastic. Other parts of my life, I own and operate a medical manufacturing business, and part of that is managing workflow of customers, projects, timelines, and being able to customize a project with the Fusion software is an absolute dream come true. And by extension, one of my really good customers got connected to Fusion to build their app
Yes.
to talk to my app.
Yes.
It's fantastic. But really, the reason that I'm really excited about tonight is my more recent venture. In another part of my life, I'm a clinical mental health counselor, and I've just started a 30-day substance use recovery center. And that whole journey has opened an idea that I think could be turned into an application.
Hmm.
And that's really what I'm looking forward to here today to see what we can build. As I look at how I can help as a clinician, help my clients recognize themselves and their tendencies.
That's really great to know, Dr. Kaufman. So, yeah, I mean, uh, we have talked a little bit about what this new app is going to look like, but would you mind elaborating on what you want to build as an app and how it would help the end user so everyone understands?
You bet. I think most of us have said the phrase, well, it's my tendency.
Hmm.
And that gets me curious as a clinician and as a neuroscience background clinician to say, well, if your tendencies are helpful or harmful, that would be
Hmm.
interesting to know. And it would be interesting, I think, in a software application to track by your own observation as the individual using the app, but also people that you've invited to help monitor what you're up to and what your tendencies are, because you've got blind spots that you can't see.
Hmm.
So if we could assess and measure how are these tendencies showing up in my day-to-day environment, then how do those tendencies help or harm my ability to accomplish small goals and small tasks that are all orientated towards a much larger goal?
Hmm.
So a classic example would be if I'm trying to start a new degree and advance in my career.
Hmm.
That's the big goal. I've got a lot of things that I'm going to be needing to do.
Hmm.
How are my tendencies mediating between my desire to accomplish this big goal
Hmm.
and my ability to handle all of these little things that I have to do to accomplish this big goal? And I want to gamify this. I want to have a number, just like in baseball. I
Right.
want to see how I'm doing today. And I want it all to come down to one number. Am I
Okay.
getting closer or farther from my main goal?
Okay. 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 Wonderful. So, what I understand from the discussions that we have had and what you just described is user's journey will be like this, that if I have a long-term goal, I'll set it up in the app. I'll define the long-term goal. Then I'll define a roadmap to get to that goal, maybe steps one, two, three to get to that goal. And then I will track my progress in achieving those steps one, two, three through my daily tendencies of doing certain things, like maybe procrastinating, or maybe positive tendencies and negative tendencies. So positive
Yeah.
could be working out, could be studying. So I'll measure those tendencies on daily basis, and then the software will tell me how likely I am to hit those steps one, two, three, and from those likelihoods will determine how likely I am to hit the my long-term goal. And you mentioned about Bayes theorem, right? You mentioned that the foundation of predicting these outcomes would be Bayes theorem. So I know a little bit about it from the link that you've shared, but would you mind just elaborating in maybe one or two lines what it is so we understand? Yeah.
Yeah, Bayes' theorem is a way to understand your past. There are tendencies, there are things that we already know to be true. And we're looking to see what is the probability that I could do this new thing based
Hmm.
on what I already know. So the Bayes' theorem has a wonderful equation that allows us to add a couple of variables and get a percentage probability that I could achieve this new thing based on what I already know.
Right, right.
And it just builds on itself.
So in our context, we are measuring what is the likelihood of a user spending his time in a classroom or maybe in a gym. So what is the probability of me spending 5 hours in a library in a week, right? And based on
Mhm.
that likelihood, we measure how likely I will be to graduate this year, something like that, right? So
Right.
okay,
Because
okay.
I could then, on the very beginning, here are my tendencies that I know about, and I've invited in some people that I trust
Hmm,
to also give their input on what they think my tendencies are.
hmm,
Because I have things that I know, and I have things that I'm trying to keep hidden,
hmm,
and I want to know what I can bring into the app, but also the trusted people. It could work for in businesses and HR.
hmm,
This could work for coaching, and
hmm.
the coach is now adding into the tendencies that they know you have.
Right.
But with that base data, here are my tendencies, and this is what I already know to be true.
Hmm,
And now from there,
hmm.
it's my probability that I can do these things that all feed up to the one big project, the one big goal.
Understood. Understood. Great. So now we understand what we need to build, but it sounds like a very, very comprehensive app. It might be a slightly bigger project than what we can build in 1 hour. So what we'll try to do today is maybe we can try to build a foundation of the important parts of the app, like the predictor model, which uses Bayes theorem to calculate based on the daily tendencies. It calculates how likely you are to hit the goals, and let's see how far we can take it in the 1 hour window that we have today. So, because we are usually short on time, what I've done is based on the information that you've shared with me earlier, I've already created this prompt. Maybe we can go through it very quickly, and if it looks good, we can start building with this. So, at least with this prompt, we'll see a first version of what AI is able to build. And then if it doesn't look good, we can again modify this prompt, come back to it again. So AI gives us this flexibility of retrying till we get something that works, right?
Mhm.
So we can do more experimentation, more trials. So even if it results in error, will maybe with quick iterations, we can get something that works. So I'll read out this prompt, and if there is anything missing, we can add it, and then we can take it to AI. So what written here is the basic description that you provided me, that will call the app tendency. So this will be tendency app. It will help individuals to track their behaviors, which is tendencies, in order to measure the likelihood of achieving their long-term goals by using Bayesian probability and AI-driven insights. The app will allow users to break down their large goals into smaller actionable goals. Like you mentioned, the larger long-term goal gets broken down into a roadmap, and then we use their positive and negative tendencies and how frequently they're displaying those tendencies to measure the likelihood of hitting those sub goals, and then also the larger goals. So that's the app functionality. That's the basic app functionality. Then coming to the user's journey, this is where I have written the user's journey with my understanding. So
Mhm.
what I've said is user will set long-term goals and sub goals. So I'll set my long-term goals that I want to graduate this year. My sub goals is studying 6 hours every day, taking some courses, doing a project, maybe getting an internship, all prerequisites for me graduating. So those are my sub goals. And then I will regularly update, am I really, so how many hours I'm studying in a given week? Am I successful in getting an internship? Am I spending enough time in looking for internships? I'll update all those things. And then software should tell me, am I doing enough? Or
Mhm.
am I am I likely to graduate given my efforts at the current level? So for that, we'll need a workflow in the backend to update the probability of achieving the sub steps using the tendencies, the frequencies and intensities of those tendencies. So we'll create a backend workflow for that. So that covers our functionality part. So for this app, I've kept the data structure very simple. So I find it useful that if I'm very elaborate in my prompt, it will go in the direction that I want. So I try to be as elaborate as possible. So I also specify the data structure that I want. So in my data structure, I want these data tables. So there should be long-term goals. So long-term goals, there should be sub goals and there should be tendencies and then there should be observations. So tendencies would be like holding the thread on the previous example. If my goal is to graduate this year, my sub goals would be studying 6 hours per week, and my tendencies would be how much time I'm spending in studying or reading per day. So maybe time spent reading, time spent studying, or procrastinating. Those would be tendencies, and those for those tendencies we would have daily observations. So kept tendencies and observations separate.
Mm. Yeah,
So let's try with that. If needed, we can again change. So because we are building with AI, it gives us a lot of flexibility. We can try it this way. If it doesn't work, if we need to, if after building this, we realize it needs to go some other way, we can always change the prompt and give it another try. And then I've requested for some pages that will have a manage goals page where we can set up a larger goal, the long-term goal and sub goals. So I've said that create an expandable table where I can set up multiple long-term goals. And if I expand the row, I should be able to set up sub goals in a nested structure. So we'll have in a table, we'll have different rows. If I expand those, I can set up sub goals under the long-term goals. And then for each sub goals, we want a page for managing tendencies. So if I click on a sub goal, I should go to another page where I can set up tendencies, which will influence the likelihood of hitting that sub goal. And then I'm also requesting for another page for self-reporting. So as a starting point, we can build the self-reporting functionality where user is reporting for himself. If we get that part working right, we can then additionally build uh, reporting coming from other sources like
hmm
friends, maybe co-workers, maybe teachers, coaches. So for starters, we can start with self-reporting, and then we can build on it. Once that the heart of the app is frozen, is stabilized, we can build the other parts. And then I'm asking for another page which is goal predictor. So based on the reporting that I've done, based on the tendencies that I've reported, I want the software to calculate my likelihood of hitting the long-term goal and predict how likely I am to achieve my goals. And then there is a workflow which will do the calculations as per Bayesian theory. And for styling, I've not been very specific. I'm just saying use soft colors, use modern font and dark gray colored text. You want to add anything to that?
That's great. No,
Uh,
I love the simplicity here.
okay, okay. So I think this is for a first attempt, like a first draft, this prompt should be good enough. If we can try with this, we can see what the actual end result is. We'll definitely get some observations from that. If needed, we can continue editing the same, we can continue editing the same app with AI. Or if we think it's not going in the correct direction, we can come back, edit this prompt and retry it. So what I'll do, I'll copy this and going back to Fusion. So I'll just show our audience how they can reach the AI app builder. So if I go to my Fusion dashboard, you'll find a button here which says build your app with AI. So you go there and you just click on build new app. So this is the app builder AI. And right now I'm trying to build a new app. So I'll just enter the prompt that we had created. So
Yep.
I have copied and pasted the prompt and then we hit enter. So it's a big prompt. It's a big prompt. It will
Pushkar,
take
I just
a
have to say, it's just so interesting as an entrepreneur who has built apps in the past to see this experience. Because usually when I give a deliverable to a software developer, it's weeks or months before I get
yes.
to see anything. So I'm just saying, it's very exciting as an entrepreneur.
Yes, it used to take weeks, at least weeks for us to build software in the past. But now, because of AI, that can be easily boiled down to days. And what we find is the rate determining step or the bottlenecks is not actually software development, but it's figuring out the difficult questions like how UI should be optimized. And those are not software related. Those are more UI or behavior or user interaction related. Like what features should I keep in my MVP, or what third party integrations should be added. So those are actually the bottleneck today,
Hmm.
bottleneck steps today. Coding part gets done really, really quick. I think I had a problem here. Let me just refresh, just check if it's working. Yeah, it's okay. So it's starting to build the app now, building the app. So as it builds pages, we'll see some progress here.
Yeah, it's just such a mind shift for us on the consumer side of this opportunity uh, to really think so differently about how we're creating this prompt and learning how to engage in that first big step.
Right. We'll see some progress as soon as this page is built. We'll get redirected to the app, and we can look at the progress as the pages are getting built.
You know what? Just thinking back to when we started with my first school behavior software, I approached it very similar of going through my user stories and thinking about what the app is going to do.
Right.
But looking at that first big prompt we had, it was very interesting to see how it was constructed uh, to have an AI assist us rather than the usual process. It's so different.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of some people are now specializing in writing prompts, and people often ask me that is there a specific way of writing effective prompts. And my answer is, I mean, not really. There is one way that I find that works for me, may not work for everyone else, but my advice would always be that you at least start somewhere, and AI gives you a luxury that you can interact with it and you can have back and forth. So if you have a starting point, after maybe 2 and 3 back and forth with AI, your initial prompt will not actually matter much. So I like to structure my prompts in a certain way. I like to specify the data structure, but it is very deterministic way of building my app. May not work for some other people, and they might go in the wrong direction. So what I would say, suggest anyone who is looking to build an app and write a prompt. So start with what you know the best, and you have the luxury that you can go back and forth with AI. So if you think that it's not going the right way, you can ask it to change something or just tweak your prompt and try it again. So yeah, I mean, it matters to a limited extent. That is what I would say. Your initial prompt has a limited influence, not a lot.
Okay, so from my clinical perspective, a lot of us entrepreneurs have some difficulty when we go and approach a software company, as we don't know how to speak that language
Hmm.
necessarily. But here with the Fusion approach, I'm hearing you say that I can get started with a prompt, and because I can interact, I don't have to know or assume to know at the beginning.
Right, right. So yeah, if you have very basic understanding of what you want to build, just start with that understanding. If software, I mean, if AI doesn't understand anything, or if it wants to make any suggestions, it will come back and do that. So right now, because I've written a very elaborate prompt, it didn't ask me any questions. But if you just say that I want to build an app to predict something, it will ask, look, like what should be the basis of those predictions? And then you can say, I want to measure tendencies. And then it will ask, like, you measure tendencies, but then how do we calculate the probability? Then you can say, I want to use Bayes theorem and the Bayesian theory. And so it is very interactive. And that is the luxury of working with AI, that we don't have to start with the whole knowledge or the complete knowledge. We can start at a point, at least if there is a starting point, AI will try to help us find our way.
Yeah, that's fascinating given that this app is all about getting to a goal,
Yeah,
and here's the AI coming along with us to facilitate that.
right. So it is building some pages. I already noticed some issues. I noticed that this manage goals page was blank, but we can see why it is blank. So when it's creating an app, you can see there are certain things that I can see in my left-hand side menu. So because I'm building this app, I'm the app owner, and I have access to edit app section, so I can edit certain things within this app. I can also access the pages. So these are all the pages that we had requested in our prompt. And then we can also see the database. So in our request, we had set up a data table for set up data tables for long-term goals and sub goals and tendencies and so on. So we can also see that the database part. And if you want to dig deeper into this, I can just click on any data table and we'll get a very detailed view of what the database looks like. So within our database, we have the app users. So right now I'm the only user. So we see the long-term goals, and AI also creates some dummy data. So this is AI generated data. So when it created the database, it also created some dummy data. So we understand what kind of data is going to go in here. And then we have sub goals, which are, you can see, they will be connected to a long-term goal. So there is a
Mm,
parent goal ID. And then we have tendencies. Tendencies will be connected to sub goals. So we have long-term goals. They'll have sub goals, and these sub goals will have tendencies. And then we'll have observations. So observations will be connected to tendencies. So we have a hierarchical structure, right? So database is properly done, I think. Let's check the pages. So in pages, this is surprising that there's nothing. I'll just check if AI has added something. It hasn't added anything. So most likely it got some error. So I'll
mm.
just say that, okay. So let's see if it can fix whatever went wrong, if it can fix.
So that was very conversational in how you addressed it.
Yes, yes. So that's what makes it easy for everyone nowadays to start building apps, even if you don't have to be technical. If you see a problem, and what we have done is, if you get errors somewhere, so we can identify errors. And so far we have not seen any errors. So I'm sure we'll see at least one or two errors as we build the app. But you'll get a button, and just with a click of the button, you can ask AI to resolve those errors. So that kind of debugging
So
is also
dialogue will
simplified.
show up.
So for example, if we had an error here, we'll also see a button that asks AI to fix the error. So AI can fix that error.
Okay.
So we can see this self-reporting page at least this is working. This is where we can see people can people can report on their tendencies. So what I've done here, I'm not sure if this is the right way or this needs to be improved. So for this particular app, I've requested for all the tendencies to be consolidated on a single page. So it doesn't
Hmm.
matter which sub goal they are related to, but all the tendencies are actually on a single page.
Hmm.
It might make, I mean, there are trade-offs. So maybe it'll be easier for user to just visit one screen and to
Hmm.
do their daily reporting once, rather than if I have multiple goals and sub goals, rather than going to different screens, I can just go and report what I did in a day, right?
Hmm.
So that with that frame of mind, I've asked AI to consolidate everything on a single page. Does it make
Hmm.
sense, or should we have different screens?
Yeah, I like this on the single screen. The simplicity,
Hmm.
just all in one spot. I like that much better.
Okay, okay. If needed, I mean, definitely you'll get better clarity on this if you put it in the hands of the actual users. And if they are struggling, if it's confusing for them, if they don't know how these tendencies are related, so maybe in that case we can try to split the UI into different screens, multiple screens. But at least you have a starting point which you can test with different users.
And
So
again, that comment just to say I can go to my end user and get the feedback and then fast develop and tweak or update the app so quickly. It's so powerful.
right. So as we check other pages, AI is still fixing the error that we had on manage goals page. Let's see if it's able to do that. If it struggles with it, I'll just try building another version of the app. And this is the one thing that I was speaking about. That if we here we have an error, so we can actually fix this error with AI. Here the button is disabled. I'll just try to go to this link, build with no code. Yes, and now here we see the AI. So here we see the error, but this button is disabled. We have kept it disabled in case the app building is still in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Because it's processing something here, so it's not allowing me to click this button. So once this processing is done, it will allow me to click this button. I think it's taking longer. So what I want to do, in interest of time, I'll just enter the prompt in another stream, and I can just give it another try. Maybe we'll
Sure.
get something which is error free. I'll just click on build new app. So maybe we can fast track. If we have 2 tries, we increase
Yeah.
our likelihood of getting something to work.
Yeah, I'm thinking of some of the different ways I've built applications with wireframing and just all of that kind of design idea work
Mhm.
before even getting to the point
Right,
of having something to test. And
right,
this just removes all of those steps.
right. Right. So hopefully we'll have something that works. Today, what we're building is I know that when we spoke earlier, you said you wanted AI to be integrated with this. So AI could generate the tendencies. I mean, user may not be aware like what the tendencies should be, what tendencies to monitor. So we will
Mhm.
need to have maybe an AI assistant which generates the tendency for these users, and user just has to report on those tendencies. But
Mhm.
today, just to keep it simple, we are just going to add those tendencies manually and get the tendency reporting and the prediction workflow done. And if we're able to do that, then getting AI to generate the tendencies and link those with the long-term goals and the sub goals, that is easier part. Maybe we can do that afterwards or in a follow-up call. We can do that. But even before you go there, you can at least test the UI. At least you would have a handle on things like whether you have to have a separate screen for each sub goal and to monitor tendencies, or whether you want to consolidate everything like a daily checklist or a daily to-do list.
Mhm.
So yeah, so second app is also getting built. So this is our second attempt. So AI, it's the opposite of deterministic. It's very random or stochastic in its behavior. So with the same prompt, we can get very different outputs. So we can see that earlier it looked something. It was it's very similar because I've given a very detailed prompt. But again, the UI is different. We are getting different errors in both the apps.
Mhm.
So if I have two things running at once, it might be easier for me to get something to work quickly, at least through one of them.
Yeah, interesting.
This one can also be fixed, but it will just take more time.
Mhm.
Okay, so this it's struggling. AI is struggling. I found that manage goal page doesn't have expandable table blocks set up. I'll rebuild this page. Okay, and
It's fascinating to see, different ways to visualize the app.
yes. So here AI has done actually a good job of doing the self-reporting page. So say on self-reporting, I can see sub goals and then the tendencies. And so I can see different sub goals and the tendencies for those. So I think AI has only created tendencies for one of those sub goals. And the app from AI side, the app is done. So we can check the pages, manage goals. Okay. So for the manage goals part, I had asked for a collapsible table. Yeah. So we have expandable collapsible table. So for my goal, long-term goal is running a marathon. So I can see things like completion probability, due date. If I want to hide it, we can hide it. I can see sub goals. So this is what I had asked for. That when I expand on a long-term goal, I should be able to add sub goals. So another goal is to lose 10 kg weight. Right. So I'm going to add a sub goal here. First step is to join a gym.
Right?
Maybe find a trainer. Yeah, it could be another sub goal. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is in progress. I am not sure how much these days dates matter. How comfortable would users be in putting dates? So again, you get to test this. If a lot of people are reluctant to put dates like start date and due date, maybe yes, they can put a due date like a very tentative due date, like I want to get this done after 6 months. That can be
Mhm.
a due date. But you get to test how users will react to this. And if it's not needed, we can also remove these due dates. So yeah, we are able to add these sub goals. Let's see if we are able to edit them. So in edit form, I actually expected this to be populated, but no problem. We can
Mm.
fix that later. Uh, I'm just going to add a test one just to see if I'm able to delete it.
Oh, okay.
Just checking if the regular editing, deleting, addition, if it's working. Okay, so same prompt. First try it didn't work. Second try we have something that works. So
Hmm.
it's largely a trial and error game because it's very random in its nature. It's not very deterministic. The more you try, the more likely you are to get something that succeeds.
Yeah, okay.
Deletion didn't work, so I'm just going to say that it's not very important. So I'll let AI work on this. while
Hmm.
we look at other things like if this is my sub goal, what are the tendencies that I want to put against it?
Yeah.
So again, so here, if we click on a sub goal, we come to a page which says manage tendencies. So against that sub goal, I want to map it to certain tendencies. So there is an error. So what I'll do is, in case this button is not working, I'll just copy this and
Okay.
I will ask AI to fix it. Oh no, it's not working because it's still doing this, but this is not very important. Deleting sub goals is not that important. So I'll try
Yep.
to fix
Okay.
this page first. And then yeah.
Okay. So you went and just grabbed that message that it gave us to feed it right
Yes.
back.
Yes. Sometimes you may not see a message here, error message here. Sometimes you will get a message in your browser. So just for awareness, just for your reference. So sometimes you may get error messages in your browser console. Right now we don't have any error here, but sometimes you might get error here. So if you tell AI where it's going wrong, you are helping it to find the right solution.
Okay.
So I'll just copy the error message and paste it and ask it to fix it. And now it's doing something.
Yeah. Okay. But it seems like we've got our the same pages that we had asked for on the first attempt. So it's like it's in the same area uh, for us, and now we're just working through. But it seems again very conversational. And so I guess as an entrepreneur, then it brings about more confidence that I can interact and get somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. And it's able to fix it. Now that we reported the error, it looked at the error and it was able to fix it. So again, I'll go back to manage goals. So this is the different goal. This is that was that uh, so it was that sub goal weekly long run for running a marathon. What I want to do is here I want to go to my sub goal, join a gym. Here we don't have any tendencies, so we want to add some tendencies. So I don't know what are the tendencies that would influence.
Oh, motivation
Right.
would be a tendency here, and that would be a if you're doing it positive.
It's positive. And I also added a field for weightage. I don't know if it's useful, if it's not useful. I wanted to
It
have
is
different
because
tendencies,
this
different
motivation
weightages.
would be very important versus maybe another tendency of lacing up my shoes to
Right,
action. Not a
right,
big deal.
right. So motivation, as you said, it's very important. I'll put 80% weightage to it. And
Hmm.
maybe for the base theorem calculations also, it might be instrumental because
Yeah.
if you're motivated, how likely you are to join a gym. Maybe that is what we can capture in the weightage, right?
Yep.
And then procrastination is something that I'll put as a negative.
Yep.
And again,
Another
this
great
is
one. Hmm.
I'll just put a random number for now. So we have two tendencies, one positive, one negative. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, that's a great example for today.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And we can then check if it shows up in self-reporting. So if I go to self-reporting and I want to join a gym, okay. So here we have something.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It didn't do a accurate job for the sliding scale. What I wanted to have here, the way after our conversation earlier, the way I visualized this, it would have like if it's positive, it would have 0 to 10. If it's negative, it would have 0 to -10, but in this direction. So that is how I visualized it. I had asked
Okay.
AI to keep default 0. So, but okay, so we can ask it to correct the UI later on. And
Hmm.
procrastination, if I was motivated, I didn't procrastinate. So procrastination, I
Yeah.
mean, if you give them liberty, they can drag it here. Or they'll be confused. Do I drag it here? Do I drag it here?
Right.
Right. So
Right.
for now, I'll leave it to 0.
Hmm.
And maybe later on we can correct this to a UI that is less confusing.
Sure. Yeah.
And for now, I'll just save it. Thank you for reporting.
Oh,
Okay. And so here we don't know if it got saved. So we want to go to the database, and if it was saved, it would be saved in observations. So let's check. Yes, we made an observation. So we made an observation where this is what the data looks like. Tendency ID is this, which would correspond to the tendency that we added. which was motivation. Or we can even check directly in the database. So if I copy this, yes, it's linked to the motivation tendency. So
Uh-huh.
in my observations, I have an observation. So I only made one observation for today. So that's why this is an array with just single object. If I had multiple sliders, it we would have seen multiple values here, but we just reported one observation. So this was the tendency, this was motivation. My reported intensity was 6. Source ID is my user ID, and yeah, this is the date.
Hmm.
So yeah, so now I'm realizing if the user again goes to this interface again and reports something, then we might actually get multiple observations in a day. I don't know if it's the right way or not. It's
Hmm.
something for you to test, right? It's something that you
And
can test whether user should only be allowed one observation in a day. Should we override the earlier observation, only keep the latest ones? That is something that is very open-ended question, right? So when you put it in users' hands, you'll know better. So if we refresh now, now we have two observations against the same motivation. So earlier my intensity was 6, now I'm saying it's 9. So which one do we use? So that is something to think about. But at least now we have observations, the self-reported observations against certain tendencies. And
and does
now,
this give us
yeah,
a timestamp, like by the hour minute?
yes. So this would be the timestamp.
Because now I could already see a calendar integration of what they were doing by their calendar,
Right,
what these motivation and tendencies were doing because we already integrated their calendar.
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you want to, yeah, draw some inferences from that. So when what they were doing when they reported this, or what they were
Yeah,
doing before they reported this, right?
exactly.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, right. So yeah, so we have observations. The next step in our skeleton would be to check the workflow. So it has created a workflow. Let's see what it has done. So in our prompt, we have asked to use the tendencies to calculate the likelihood of hitting the sub goals, and thereby calculating the likelihood of hitting the long-term goal.
Hmm.
It has also done some OpenAI integration. So whenever it does any third-party integrations, it will ask us for things like which model do you want to use. So right now it's asking which OpenAI model to be used for generating summary. So it has only created uh, OpenAI integration to generate summary of whatever observations or uh, behavior has been observed. So I'll say GPT 4.1 is a good model. What
Hmm.
is your OpenAI key? I'll just put my OpenAI key API key for now, and I'll save it. So going back to our prompt, I have asked in the workflow that update the probability of achieving sub goals and their parent goals given the certain tendencies have occurred, and use Bayes theorem for these calculations. Right. So let's see what it has done. So I can see, I mean, it has generated this code, which is using the weightages that we have given, and uh, and so there is a lot of math. We may not have sufficient time to go through it today. What I want to do is just check if it works. But I mean, if we invest a little time and go through the calculations that are being done, we can test whether we are getting some trustworthy results or not.
Hmm.
It's should be these tests should be easy. So sub goals count 0. So let's see, it didn't get enough data to process. Uh, yeah, so the reason is it made a typo here, which I can correct, and I can again test it.
Oh, so grammar and writing skills matter.
Not really. The typo was, so for example, here you see the data tables. It's spelled with a capital. The data table sub goals. It's spelled with a capital S, and
Hmm.
there it had missed this. It had kept it small because we are talking of fetching data. The case needs to be correct on point. So yeah, so we got something. So now after I made the correction, now it's working properly. So it found five sub goals. So three were AI generated. We added two, so it found five sub goals, which is right. Then it's processing different sub goals, probability updated for this sub goal ID, given the tendency. This is okay. It's also asking AI uh, to generate some summary for the user. So
Hmm.
this is the prompt that our software is giving to AI. Our software is asking AI, given the following tendency impacts for the sub goal, most negative tendencies by score, provide a brief summary and personalized recommendation to improve the probability of achievement for this goal. Yeah, but this it didn't get the prompt correct. It has left this blank. So we can
Ah,
check why it was blank. So AI is saying, yeah, certainly it appears. Please provide the specific tendency. So we missed that. We have missed that prompt. It has made a few calls, but it has missed that prompt. So we can check that step, or I can tell AI
mm.
that our tendencies are not getting recorded in the prompt to AI. So please fix it. So AI can actually, uh, now that I've told this, AI can actually debug the code that it is written. It takes
Huh.
sometimes it takes longer. So if I'm doing it, I find it easier to just correct the code by myself. So let's see if it's able to do that. Okay, otherwise I'll make the correction and we'll get it to work
Okay.
because we are almost at the 1 hour mark, but we will get it to work. If
Yeah.
AI is not able to do it, I'll correct it myself.
Um, but again, just to recognize, we started out with just some thought. It was
Right,
turned into a prompt, and there's something real here that I can already start engaging in, learning, and just the speed at which I can develop
right,
is breathtaking.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, irrespective of whether the predictor model works, doesn't work, at least you can test the UI,
Hmm.
because there are certain questions. So the more we work with it, the more questions we are actually getting, because earlier we didn't think through how the self-reporting UI should look like. Now we know that there are some things that might be confusing for the user. So at least those are the questions that can get answered, and with the next iteration, we can have improved UI, and we can also get the predictor model to work. So it has made some changes. I want to test it. Let's see.
But those little things, we passed over it like it was simple. But you design a whole UI and it doesn't work in a regular software development. That was significant time and money.
Right. So for this one, subgoal count is 0. Oh, okay. It changed the code, but again, it made that typo. Maybe it'll be better if I just correct the code. Let it run while I check the code. It's taking the subgoal name. We may not have a subgoal name.
Mm.
It should be goal. So that's why it's missing that.
Ah,
So it should have been goal. So here it's saying subgoal name. It's not actually name, but it's goal. So you saved it like subgoal goal. Uh, okay, I think that should correct it. And just to be sure, I'll check. Okay, here also we have subgoal name, which I'll correct goal.
yeah.
The save and test is still not perfect because I saw that the mapping between subgoals and tendencies wasn't done correctly. But let's see if at least this works. So we can change those other things. But even for me, if I was manually coding, it would have taken me maybe at least a couple of hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours to do this. Just the workflow part, just the
Oh, wow.
workflow that we're looking at, this workflow, to think of all
Hmm.
the steps, then to write the first version of the code, then to get it to work correctly. Just this part, not the UI pages, not the data structure, data table. Just this would take at least maybe between 2 to 5 hours, right?
Hmm.
So uh, but here I'm able to very quickly test it. I get some logs, and I can ask AI to fix it. Okay, at least we see the sub goals now, but the
Hmm.
tendencies are not correctly mapped. So I'll, I'll tell it that. So tendencies, I'll just try to make the correction for. So what I'm asking it is to get the tendency data. So the tendency data where sub goal ID would be the subgoals ID. I mean, I'm having to do this only because we are short on time. Otherwise, we can
Sure.
ask AI that I'm not getting this, I'm not getting this. Look at these logs, I'm not getting this number. Then AI can check and fix it. But
Yeah.
it'll take maybe longer time. But I
Sure.
can, if it's debugging, I can fix it.
But it's also useful for us to see, as an entrepreneur, to see what is actually happening when this thing called AI is doing this thing that I asked it to do.
Right.
That's a fun little connection here for me.
Right. And although we said today we'll not be doing AI integration, AI already went ahead and set it up. So now we are getting some kind of summary and some kind of feedback from which is AI generated. So we are telling that this is the sub goal and these are the tendencies and what is your feedback for the user, and AI is giving, it's supposed to give us back something. Okay. So
Oh,
again, it's missing the tendencies, which will need to check in detail. Uh, Yeah, but what I can do, I think because we are already over the 1 hour mark, what I can do is it's a small thing to be fixed. I'll fix it and I'll put this app in your account and then you can play with it,
okay.
right? So only
All right.
thing that is missing is right now we are giving it a prompt, but that list of tendencies is missing. So for this sub goal, it's not getting all the tendencies. So that's why the feedback is not as expected. Another thing that I noticed, another improvement that could be done later on was it's actually asking AI for the probability value. Rather than doing the calculations with Bayes theorem, it's doing some calculations, but not, uh, it should do all calculations for the probability using the Bayes theorem. And then
Hmm.
AI should just translate that to plain and simple English, is
Yeah.
what should ideally happen. So
Hmm.
maybe what I will also do is I will ask AI to rewrite this code and use Bayes theorem to do the probability calculations, and then just ask AI to generate a summary so the user can understand it in plain and simple English.
Right.
And with those changes, I'll just put it in your account so you can play with it. If
Hmm.
And I think now you have a better idea of how to make some tweaks to the UI
Yes.
or to the workflow or to the database. You just need to go to this window, edit with AI, and you'll be able to chat with AI, continue our conversation with AI, and ask it to make changes. And you should be able to see those changes, even in case of some UI modifications. So it's
Hmm.
this should be mobile friendly, like at least this part, the self-reporting part and the goal predictor part should be mobile friendly, which we can check. It is mobile friendly. So this can also be turned into a progressive web app, like people can download it and use it as a mobile app. So at
Right.
least you can get feedback on the UI,
Hmm.
and next iteration we can have better UI, better predictor model. So for now, you'll have a starting point.
Yeah. Which is exactly what I was hoping to accomplish.
Great, great, great. So
Well,
I hope this was a productive call and you got something out of it. I'll send the app to you, and I hope you are able to test this with the users at your new clinic, new facilities. And if you need any help to further improve this, modify this, I'm happy to connect on a call.
wonderful. I'll look forward to it. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
All right, Dr. Kaufman, thanks for your time. Have a
You
good
as well.
evening. Yeah,
You too.
have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.